What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below, and episode 7 of the show, guys. I'm really excited about this episode of the 8 Below Show, which we always are, but I'm excited tonight, guys, because we're going to be talking about a number of topics in today's episode of the 8 Below Show. That being none other than Gears of War. We're going to be talking about a number of different topics revolving around Gears of War. We're also going to be talking about Fortnight for the first time on the 8 Below Show, as well as, of course, some Call of Duty stuff. And then, of course, to kind of wrap it up, we're going to be talking about Halo and Halo Infinite, which is another game that we have not talked about as of yet on the 8 Below Show. And it's a game and a series, a franchise that is very close to my heart for a number of reasons, and we'll be talking about that here in this episode of the 8 Below Show. So welcome everyone. Guys, today the big thing I want to talk about is Gears of War, though. Gears of War, one of those games, one of those franchises that is extremely just incredible as far as a franchise, something that I absolutely love and have a massive passion for is Gears of War and the Gears of War franchise, Gears of War esports. So much revolving around Gears of War that has kind of consumed my, I guess you could really say a portion of my life was consumed by Gears of War and those early days of the Xbox 360. The very first game that I ever owned with the Xbox 360 was Gears of War because it came with my 360. And so just a game that absolutely took my imagination, and man, it ran wild. I will tell you guys that it absolutely was something that kind of just took me and took me into a place that I just absolutely, I never really left. I've just really had such a passion for Gears of War in this franchise, one of my favorite games of all time. And today I want to talk about a couple of things revolving around Gears. And Gears of War, guys, is, in my opinion, one step away from greatness. So let's talk about that. So when I talk about Gears being one step away, it's felt like for a long time now, guys, whether we're talking viewership on Twitch, whether we're talking about viewership on YouTube, we're talking about, net sales from the Gears of War franchise, and really in any way in which you talk about it, Gears of War has felt one step away from the rest of the big IPs out there in the gaming industry. So, when you look at the Fortnights of the world, the Call of Duties, the League of Legends, all of these, different massive IPs, massive games, it's really felt like people in the Gears of War community will tell you that Gears is a niche genre, or not niche genre, but more of a niche game. It's more of a niche title, like, it's not like one of those IPs that's, just groundbreaking, like everybody's, wanting to play it and such. I just disagree. I disagree flat out with this idea that Gears is a niche. Sure, right now, it's felt like kind of an inferior franchise to the likes of Call of Duty and, other games, obviously, even other first-person shooters like Fortnite. But Gears of War has felt like for a long time to me that it's been just one step away from greatness, and there's been things that have held that back. I put some of that on the community. I will say that some of it I'm going to put back on the community, and I might get a little bit of some backlash for that, but I'll give you guys some reasons as to why I feel that way. But I've always just felt that Gears is a franchise that, it reminds me a lot of Halo, right? So Halo was pretty much one of the biggest first-person shooters during the years of, like, Halo 2, when it came into, Halo 3, it was starting to get really big. And, even like Halo Reach, the Gears circuit, as far as from the pro scene, I mean, it was a pretty big title, and I know Call of Duty kind of stole that away from Halo, and then Halo, obviously the developers made some mistakes, and things happened, especially with Halo 5 Guardians. A lot of people, it was a very divisive game, but I still feel like Halo, people would say now that Halo's niche. It's like a niche game. Or it's a, it's a big community, but it's not like a huge community. And the same people will say that about Gears of War. And Halo, I think, is in the same boat as Gears of War. It's kind of a game in which, in a franchise, that's one step away. And it's been one step away. I feel like Halo may have gotten there, whereas Gears may not have gotten to that kind of forefront, to the top of the top, so to speak. But Gears of War is a game in which, in a franchise in which, I think that there's always been something that's held it back each game that's come out. So Gears of War 3, I felt, was the best Gears game overall that's ever been made, for a number of reasons. But I think that Gears of War 3 really was, it wasn't necessarily groundbreaking, because it was kind of similar to Gears, of War 2 and the first Gears of War. But it kind of solidified this as a franchise, or it solidified it as like a trilogy. And I think that it just introduced some new things to Gears of War 3, like Beast Mode. And I really thought that they, were just kind of updating or upgrading Horde Mode. And the campaign was absolutely mind-blowing. One of the best and greatest campaigns I've ever played. Just Gears of War 3, I thought that they couldn't get any better than Gears of War 2 when Gears of War 2 came out, because I thought, oh man, Gears of War 1 was incredible, one of the best campaigns I've ever played to this day. Then you have Gears of War 2, I'm like, oh, well, it looks amazing, I'm so hyped about it, and I played it, I'm like, wow, it's even better than I thought it was going to be. And then Gears of War 3, it's like, there's no way it's going to be better than Gears of War 2 or the first game, and it just was mind-blowing. The best one. It was like the best one. And then, of course, we got Gears of War Judgment, which in my opinion were the dark ages of Gears of War, which, is kind of another discussion for another day. Then, of course, the Coalition takeover from Epic Games. And then, of course, you've got the Ultimate Edition. And then, of course, Gears of War 4 to Gears 5. And it's just felt, guys, I'm not going to speak for that of Gears of War 3. As far as, because that was, a while back, that was with Epic Games. But I'm going to talk about right now as to what we've been dealing with the Coalition. And when I'm saying Gears of War is one step from greatness, I mean that in the standpoint of, sure, back in the day when Epic Games were the ones who owned the IP, I felt like with Gears of War 3, Gears of War 2, and even Gears of War, it was one step away from greatness. Like, it may be greatness as far as from our standpoint, where we look at it as a franchise or as a game, we think that this is a great game. But as far as, like, just accepted by everyone, right? I think that it's just been one step away. Now, part of that is going to be that it's exclusive to Xbox. Sure, you can play it on PC, but being an exclusive game makes it a little bit difficult to be able to reach the player base that you might hope, right? And the same issue can come from Halo as well. But part of that, guys, I'm going to say is not really it could be used as an excuse, but it shouldn't be. And I don't think Gears of War would need that. I don't think Halo does either. Because I think that Xbox is big enough. It's a big enough, obviously, console and has a ton of active users and players on it. So what is it? What is it about Gears of War that's been one step away, other than that being it's specific to one console, which is the Xbox? Which, I mean, we could talk about, oh man, it would be a massive game if it was on PlayStation and on Nintendo Switch and all these different, consoles and such. If it was accessible on multiple platforms, man, it would be so much bigger. Yeah, maybe. It would obviously be bigger, right? But I put part of this also on the developers. And I'm not saying that the coalition aren't doing a great job. Guys, one thing I'm going to say is this. People can bitch and complain about what the coalition is doing with the IP. But may I remind everyone that if it wasn't for the coalition, Gears of War would probably be what's known as a completely dead game. Sure, people might say it's a dead game right now, but it is not dead by any stretch. In fact, it's quite the opposite. And it's because of the coalition that this game is, alive at least. At least it's a franchise that's alive. It's something that there is a passionate fan base behind it. And I'm one of those passionate fans. But sure, I do believe the developers over at the coalition in particular, they've made some decisions that just, it's kept Gears of War one step from greatness. Now, could Gears of War 7, or I should say Gear 7, or Gear 6, could one of those be the next, could that be the game that gets us over the top? It's very well possible, but I still think that Gears 5 is a game it's not all lost, guys. It's not. And we're going to talk about that. It's not a game that is lost at this point. We've got Gears 5 for at least a few years now before we get Gears 6. So look, let's enjoy it for what it is. Let's voice our opinion to the coalition. And we've been doing that. We have to remember that the coalition are going to have their hands tied in certain aspects. Like, they're working with Microsoft here. This is a massive billion-dollar company, right? And there's, of course, going to be agendas to create more revenues for the company. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's the way in which you do that and you do those things. So, look, I'm not going to say that it's all on that the coalition and Microsoft are, they are covered of any, wrongdoings or anything with the franchise that we don't, or they're, I should say that I'm not going to say that they're not at fault here for what's happened with, Gears of War Ultimate Edition to Gears of War 4 to Gears 5, okay? But at the same time, if it wasn't for them, Gears of War would be it would be a dead game. It would be just a game that was of the past, right? And we would just be able to reminisce about the old games, the Gears of War 3, Gears, of War 2, Gears of War Judgment, which were the Dark Ages. That would be our last remembrance of Gears and the franchise. So first of all, thank you to the coalition, thank you to Microsoft for believing in the brand, because a game that I am very passionate about it exists because of them. It exists because of you all as well, who are fans of the franchise. But look, guys, I'm going to put some of the blame on us as a community. Gears of War is one step from greatness because of us as well. If you're going to put blame on that of the coalition or of Microsoft, or because the game just isn't very, there's things about it that aren't that great, the store isn't good because it's so heavily monetized, or the gameplay just isn't that great, or the characters, there's not enough enough customization, or there's not enough collectibles or earnable items that you get for re-upping in the game. Those are all valid reasons for, being upset about the game and not, maybe putting as much time into it. But I am going to put some blame on us as a community. I believe that, look, if you are a content creator, if you are a streamer, and you love Gears of War, why aren't you creating content around it on a daily basis? Why aren't you streaming it as much as possible? If you're a streamer, why don't you stream it on a consistent basis? Look, guys, this is a game in which doesn't have very many viewers. And instead of us bitching about it, let's do something about it. More of us can stream it. More of us can create content around it and all of those things. And look, I'm at fault too, guys. I'm not saying that I'm going to put it on just the Gears of War, like on everybody else, but I'm doing something right here. No, like I want to do more as well to help continue building out this franchise. It's not just Gears 5, guys. It's Gears of War as a whole. It's creating content around it. It's streaming. It's you as a fan. If you don't create content and you don't stream, then taking in some of that content, supporting your favorite Gears of War streamers, supporting your favorite, Gears of War content creators on YouTube, hitting the thumbs up button, hitting the subscribe button, doing things like that help. And giving criticism as well as, constructive feedback to the coalition and to, just even streamers and content creators as to what content you want to see and what things that you want to see changed about Gears of War and Gears 5. It's up to us to make it a bigger game. Plain and simple, guys. I don't know how else to say it. And I've said this, now, and I said this in a previous 8 Below show episode where, I took a segment of the show just to explain, like, that we as a community, we got to all do our part to build this scene out. Because the coalition can only do so much. Sure. Is PGL, as far as the PGL esports, are they not really promoting that very well and things of that nature with the esports scene? No, they're not doing that great of a job, okay? We got to call it as it is. But at the same time, guys, we've got to, we have to call those things out, but we got to support each other. I don't see a lot of the pro Gears players streaming a lot. Every once in a while I'll see Explosive or, Sneaky or, Lava or, Mental or, a number one of these Gears pro players streaming, but it's not very regularly. And I understand it to a degree. The pro players, they don't like to show all their strats and such while they're, just, scrimming and such, but it really helps build the scene. You look at, just for example, you look at Call of Duty. You look at Scumpy, you look at these massive streamers. Well, they're really big because not only are they pro players, but they're also streaming the game quite a bit. And they're growing, but it's also helping grow the scene, continue to grow that scene of Call of Duty. So I'm just going to challenge everyone to, if you are a content creator or a streamer, just start creating content around it, more content. Stream more, at least, stream more consistently. I'm trying to do my part, guys, and I want to do my part, but it's going to be up to all of us. If you're just a fan of the game, take in some of those streams from your favorite streamers who stream Gears. Take in some of that content on YouTube and support those creators and those streamers who are trying to do it. Give that criticism and that feedback to the coalition, and let's just keep building this thing out. Slowly but surely. It's going to take time, guys. It's going to take time. I think everyone was expecting Gears 5. It was all just going to change. Everything, it was just going to be this massive ordeal right off the rip. And, it had a shaky launch. Did the game launch too early? Almost wasn't quite finished yet? That's debatable, and that's something that very well could have happened, but the game launched, okay? We can't really look back on what could have happened, what should have happened, all of those things. We got to look at where we're at right now, and we got to try to make it better. Because guess what, guys? The consistent complaining and just, saying, oh, I'm done with this game, I'm giving up on it, I'm moving on to other things, things of that nature, it breeds, it's like an infectious, just bad vibes throughout the community. And what that creates, guys, is divisiveness. It creates, it almost makes it where, how can the developers over at the Coalition and Microsoft, how can they, justify making another Gears of War title if, number one, the consistent amount of the player base isn't growing, it's actually getting smaller, and the support isn't there with the esports scene. It's not there when it comes to content creation and streaming, or stream-wise. We've got to be the reason that it continues. If you love Gears of War, we have got to be the ones making a stand on it and doing what we can to continue creating content, streaming. We're going to try to do our part. It's up to everyone else to take in that content and to give that constructive criticism, that feedback, even to streamers and content creators, as to what kind of content you want to see around Gears of War. Whether that's about Gears 5 or one of the previous Gears of War games, or if we're talking about the future of Gears. There's so much to be made and so much to be told within this universe, in this franchise. Let's make it happen, guys. Let's work together to take that next step in the Gears of War franchise from one step to greatness to greatness. This leads me to my next thing, guys, which is Gears 5, and one of the modes that I would love to see brought back in this game is Beast Mode. And I want to talk about that because Beast Mode, guys, for those of you who have never played it, it was a mode in Gears of War 3 when that launched. And it was a mode in which it was essentially like Horde mode, but instead of playing as, the cog, and you would try to defeat waves upon waves of Locust Horde, you played as the Horde. And so what you would end up doing is essentially you would be able to play as one of the Tickers or a Cantus, or one of the just members of the Locust Horde. And it was pretty neat. It was a really unique and interesting game mode, and you could, if I remember correctly, you could rank up each one of those different members of the Locust Horde, different characters. You could just unlock different things, and it was just another way in which you could rank up in Gears of War 3. I think Beast Mode, guys, would just, it's something I think that could be brought back, and there's maybe ways in which that they could make it even better than it was in Gears of War 3. I absolutely loved the game mode. I thought it was extremely creative, and I just thought it was kind of a role reversal. And I would love to see that come back. I mean, there's a number of things that I would like to see in Gears 5, guys. I mean, there just is. I mean, do I like the maps? Yeah, I do. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think the maps are pretty good. I think the map pool is pretty solid. I like the maps. It feels like Gears of War. Sure, I mean, as far as the re-ups are concerned, do I feel like you don't get enough? Yeah, you don't really get enough stuff. Do I feel like the re-up icons or the, emblems and such that you get aren't that great? Yeah, they're not that great. But look, it's one of those things. Each game is going to have specific things about it that you like and you don't like. Now, do I want them to bring the wings back like they did with Gears of War 3 and Gears 4? Sure, I want to see those things. I'd like to see them update, or kind of as we go here, they're kind of making things better and better as we go. I would love to see that. Because this is what I'm going to say, guys. To get back to, the Coalition and what they've done for us, obviously bringing back Gears of War, but also just the fact that, okay, they brought back, Gears of War, the Ultimate Edition, obviously kind of bringing back some of those great old memories. Then you had Gears of War 4, which, okay, the campaign, I didn't like the campaign, but I thought the multiplayer was one of the best multiplayers we had in Gears of War ever. Like, I thought that the multiplayer was incredible. I just did. And the Horde mode, I loved Horde mode in Gears of War 4. I thought it was great. Overall, like, as an experience, I loved Gears of War 4. It was the best one since Gears of War 3. But sure, the campaign, I didn't like the campaign. I thought they were too heavily focused on the robots in it, and I just did not like that. I wanted to be more focused on the Locust Horde. And guess what they did in Gears 5? They did exactly that. Now, Gears 5 obviously had some things. I like the semi-open world. I thought that's a really cool idea, and I'm wondering if they're going to continue that onwards into Gears 6 to moving into a fully open world setting. That'd be pretty cool. But the thing I still don't really know how I feel about is being Kate Diaz instead of JD Phoenix or Marcus. It's hard for me to move on from Marcus, and that was tough with Gears of War 4 with JD, even though I was kind of accepting it by the end of the game. It's hard to move on to Kate Diaz. I don't know why. I like Kate a lot. She's a great character, a real badass character. But there's something about Marcus. And JD's pretty cool as well. I'd like to see more of kind of the Last of Us kind of take, where you play, maybe in Gear 6, you play some of Kate Diaz, but you also play as JD a little bit, or a little bit as Marcus. I'd kind of like switching it around between characters a little bit more in Gear 6. That would just be kind of some feedback to the Coalition. I'd love to hear from you guys what you guys think about that. But getting back to the Coalition and just how an incredible experience of a campaign I felt that they made in Gears 5, we're really taking significant steps forward. I feel like when it comes to the campaign, I feel like they're doing an incredible job. I'm not going to say that Gears 5 was the best campaign, because Gears of War 3 is going to have a very close place in my heart. But it's up there, man. It's very, very well done. And I like some of the additions that they made to, aiming down sights and such, and how that all works in Gears 5, as far as just on an overall basis, right? I love the escape mode. Escape is very different, and that's something that I enjoy. Kind of like when I was saying, if they could bring back beast mode, it's another mode I'd love to see come back. But escape mode is pretty sick. It's fun. It's a cool mode. I'll also say, guys, that, like I said, the multiplayer in Gears 5, it feels really good. I don't like the Omen and how that works when you're being shot at and you're losing health. And instead of the Omen, filling up, it kind of fills up from the outside coming in instead of in, out, kind of. And I don't really know if I like that much, because sometimes it does kind of blur your vision and such. But it's an interesting concept. And what I will tell you guys, and this is just someone who's speaking, I don't know for a fact if the Coalition is listening to everything, but I'm pretty sure they are. They've been pretty open about, commenting on what we're saying as a community, and what we're hoping that they do in the future and things of that nature. And I gotta say, guys, I feel like we're in good hands with the Coalition. I'm telling you right now. We're in really good hands. And that's kind of what I want to stress to everyone, is that the Coalition they're human beings just like us, right? And they're trying to make the best product and the best game possible, okay? And it's up to us to support, the things that we like about the game. Sure, give our criticism, like I said, to the things that we don't enjoy about the game. And I think that people expect an instant fix, right? Because I see this in Call of Duty as well. Everyone wants an instant fix on the things that are going on with Call of Duty, but it just can't happen immediately. People want the spawns to be fixed. I mean, those are very difficult things for developers to be able to fix, is spawns. Even though it's something that may need to be fixed, it's a very difficult one. So just be patient as the coalition is working on this and trying to make this as good of an experience as possible for us. They're going to do their damn best to make this as playable of a game, or as enjoyable of a game for us as possible. And, they're slowly but surely, they're implementing things slowly but surely into, things that I think are making the game better over time. Would I like to see them update, the re-ups, or make those a little bit, more reason to re-up in the game? Sure. Of course. The Tour of Duty, it's pretty grindy and stuff. I think people need to be rewarded if they're going to grind really hard, but give them really good stuff, right? And in the store, I've never been one, guys, that has, and I've said this multiple times on this channel, when it comes to microtransactions, I don't remember the last time I bought a microtransaction, unless you consider like DLC, like DLC maps in Call of Duty or something. If you consider that microtransactions, which I guess they probably are. Other than that, I really don't buy like cosmetic items. I just don't do it. I like earning things in game, right? That's what I like. I like to try to earn stuff within the game. So it's never really been a problem for me, the microtransactions within video games. It's when they become deceptive to the consumers. And I've said that number of times, like, for example, like a deceptive or just very, pay to win mentalities. Okay. Which obviously with Gears of War, we don't have anything like that. We don't have like a specific, obviously there's power weapons, which is what I love about Gears of War, by the way. It's similar to Halo. Everyone has the same weapons for the most part. And then of course you've got power weapons on the map. That's pretty awesome. I like that. I like that concept, okay? And you just fight for those power weapons. It's an easy concept to understand, and I just really like that. As far as the esports scene goes, I'd love to see, I like execution. I like the idea of execution being the game mode because it's very easy to understand for new viewers. It's just, look, this is search and destroy essentially. You get one life. So everyone, the stakes are higher. And I think that would be... I really do think that execution would be great. Escalation's a fantastic game mode. I just don't know if escalation should be the main game mode for the esports scene. Maybe. It's hard to tell. I had a lot of fun watching it in Gears of War 4. I thought it was great. But is it better than execution? I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on that in the comment section below. Is escalation better than execution, or would you rather see execution over escalation in the pro circuit? Let me know what you guys think about that. I think I would like to see execution over it, maybe just for this title. We saw escalation for all of Gears of War 4. Let's see what execution does in Gears 5. I think I would like that. I know they're kind of been switching that around a number of times. They're switching up the meta and such right before, the tournaments. And that's not a good thing, but I think we're moving in the right direction. They've got majors. Maybe eventually they'll have, a regular season, playoffs, championship, which is kind of a little bit more structured. But nonetheless, I love the direction we're moving in, at least. We gotta change, there's just things here and there that need to be changed, mended, and we as a community need to be, supporting the, streamers, content creators, and, voicing our opinion, and just, hoping that we, get a stronger game over time. So let's switch topics now, guys. Let's talk a little bit about Fortnite, which is a game in which, guys, has taken the world by storm. And I know it's kind of slowed down a little bit over time. But it's a game in which I really haven't talked much about on my YouTube channel. And I want to talk a little bit about Fortnite. And the thing I want to talk about here today is who is the best Fortnite player currently playing right now. So let's talk about it. I'm going to say, guys, a lot of people are saying Booga is the best, and he, of course, won the World Cup. Lots of people are going to say Tfue. Others are going to continue to say Ninja. As far as, just, big fans of Ninja are going to say that. Others are going to say it's other people, Aiden or, Symphony. And, there's all kinds of different streamers. The beautiful thing about Fortnite is it's created careers for so many different, content creators and streamers. And that's what the most amazing thing about Fortnite is that it has brought together so many people. And in this game that, it's taken the entire gaming industry by storm. And so now it looks to me, at least, that when I'm watching the FNCS, which is the Fortnite Champion Series, I believe is what it's called. Watching some of those players, I mean, man, there just is consistently new people coming into the scene that are really, really good. And so it's very difficult to say who is the best player currently in Fortnite. When push comes to shove, guys, I really think that the best players, in my opinion at least, are still Tfue and Cloakzy. I still think that those are two guys who are just absolute forces to be reckoned with. Best duo I think that we've seen ever in Fortnite. They are that good. Now, sure, Liquid Chap, he's very good. I'll definitely say that he's a very good player. But there's been kind of phases, I think, obviously, as Fortnite has evolved. It's not so cut and dry like some of the other esports out there. Because with Fortnite and the way it's changed things, it's consistently updating from, season to season. There's new things in each season, so it's new ways. And you just have to consistently be evolving. As a player of Fortnite, you have to constantly be trying to get better at the game and kind of adapting to all of the different changes that are coming to Fortnite. And now with Chapter 2 out and, introduced to the world, who is the best? I mean, it's just very difficult. I would still put my money on Tfue as well as Cloakzy. I still think that those two are two of the best, without a doubt. I would say that there's still, there's certainly other guys out there who are absolutely incredible. I think Booga is a very good player. Watching him, he's a stud, man. He really knows and does a very good job when it comes to playing Fortnite. But even guys like Replays and, some of these other guys who are just streamers, man, some of them are very good at the game as well. So it's just kind of one of those things. I feel like the gap between the pros and everyone else is so big. I mean, it just feels so big right now. But the gap between the pros is so close and narrow because it could go any way. From tournament to tournament, you just see a lot of times new people are rising to the top. And you'll have the best of the best players that are always up there, but they may not always be winning. I mean, it's been a while since I saw Tfue and Cloakzy win. Now, I know now with the change of the competitive season or just the competitive circuit, it's now squads. A lot of people want trios, or a lot of people still want duos. But this is what they've got right now, I guess, is squads. And I heard that a lot of the pros, it's almost unplayable for them to play as, I guess, it's unplayable to be playing squads for some reason. Some say that it is playable. But then there's others that say they just don't like playing squads. They rather play, with two or one other person. But what do you guys think? Who is the best Fortnite player in the world right now, in your opinion? Is it someone that everybody knows, or is it someone completely new to the scene? Who do you guys think is going to be the next big Fortnite player in the world, say in the next few months? And I guess the big question is really, what is the future of the Fortnite competitive circuit? I mean, are they going to be doing, they're obviously showing that they want there to still be a competitive scene in Fortnite, but what is it going to look like in 2020? That's kind of my biggest question, because it's kind of just up in the air. Does Epic Games really care about the competitive circuit? It sounds like they want to be more, as a Fortnite, as a game, it feels like Epic Games really wants it just to be kind of something that everybody plays, not something that's necessarily played competitively. It's more like, look, everybody can play this. It's playable for everyone. It's easy to play. It's not, something that should be intimidating because of the building mechanism in the game, which is something that definitely kind of turned me off from playing the game more, because I used to play it before building was becoming a thing, but it wasn't like, what it is now, which is it's just crazy. Every lobby you get into, you're going to go up against guys who are incredible at building. So there is not so much there's a learning curve to it, but it's more intimidating for new players, I think, more so than it was before. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about that. Who do you guys think is the best Fortnite player in the world? Let me know. So next, guys, is Half-Life Alyx, which of course is the newest addition to the Half-Life franchise from Valve that they announced as their flagship VR game, which is very interesting. And now I want to talk about everything that we know so far about the game, which is pretty exciting. I mean, obviously, we know quite a bit now from just watching the reveal trailer for the game. But I found an article, guys, that I thought was pretty good from PC Gamer. It was written by Andy Kelly. It's 12 big things we learned about Half-Life Alyx. And I want to give you guys some of my thoughts on it. Half-Life, for those of you wondering, is a game in which I really only played Half-Life 2. Never played the first one, but Half-Life 2 I thought was a really great game. I didn't think that I wasn't as high on the game as everybody else was, or it felt like everyone else was, thinking it was one of the, just one of the best games ever. I thought it was good. I wasn't as high on it as some people. I don't know why. Maybe, I was obviously younger and I just wasn't as interested in it as some people. But that being said, I can honestly say from watching the reveal trailer that this has really intrigued me into playing Half-Life again and possibly getting a VR headset, which I don't own one at this point, but it's definitely piqued my interest in that because, man, the graphics look really good. It looks like a pretty damn good game, I'm not going to lie. But let's talk about the 12 big things we learned. Alex Vance returns in Valve's new VR prequel due in March of 2020. So that right off the bat, guys, March of 2020, that's not too far away. So we're going to be finding out about this game very, very soon. The release date is March of 2020. You can play Half-Life Alyx in March 2020, although no exact release date has been set yet. The game will retail at $60, but is free to anyone who owns a Valve Index VR headset. And Valve's Index VR headset is relatively expensive, guys. Just so you know, it's one of the higher higher priced brands when it comes to VR headsets. It's Valve's biggest project yet. Remarkably, this is the biggest group of people Valve has ever had working on the development of a single game. It's been in development for a long time, according to Gunpoint creator and former PC Gamer editor Tom Francis. Half-Life Alyx is the largest game we've had yet, Valve designer Greg Coomer tells us. About a third of the people on the project have worked on previous Half-Life games, some all the way back to the first Half-Life. Coomer adds that new employees, including those from recently acquired Firewatch developer Campo Santo, have played an important part in bringing fresh perspectives, which has always been a crucial part of our process. So right off the bat, where it says that a third of the people on the project have worked on previous Half-Life games, that right there has got me half sold already, because when you hear that there are people that are working on this game that worked on previous Half-Life games, that tells me that these are people in which know the franchise, they know the world in which they are dealing with, and it's very delicate to a massive following. So that's a very reassuring. That makes me feel really, really good about this, because if you think about it, if you didn't have those people, or a lot of people that worked on Half-Life before, you kind of wonder, are they going to go in a completely different direction? Is it going to really feel like Half-Life? Is it going to feel like a spin-off of it? What's it going to feel like? And I can tell you guys, just by watching the reveal trailer, it looks and it kind of feels, from just watching it, like Half-Life. We didn't set out to make a Half-Life game, Robin Walker, programmer on Half-Life Alyx, told IGN. Valve began experimenting with VR using assets from Half-Life and Portal, though the movement and momentum of the latter wasn't suitable for VR. Half-Life was. Initially, it was only a brief Half-Life VR experience, but that changed in large part to the reactions of playtesters. As we started to put people through this 15-minute prototype, Walker told Jeff Keighley, they would spend 45 minutes in it doing a bunch of stuff that we never really saw. They exhibited a bunch of behaviors we never really seen players exhibit in the sort of flat screen 2D desktop environment. Here's the Half-Life Alyx system requirements. There, of course, is the requirements. I'm not really going to read that off screen. It sounds like a proper Half-Life game, and it's as long as Half-Life 2. So Valve promises that Half-Life Alyx will feature all the hallmarks of classic Half-Life, including world exploration, puzzle solving, visceral combat, and an intricately woven story that connects it all with the characters iconic to the Half-Life universe. The story is set between the events of Half-Life and Half-Life 2 and sees Alyx and her father Eli secretly mounting a resistance to the brutal occupation of Earth by the Combine, mysterious invading aliens. As Alyx, players take the fight to the Combine to save the future of humanity. So welcome back to City 17. One screenshot shows the Combine stronghold, the Citadel, under construction with hunter choppers carrying large metal panels toward it. Another screenshot shows what look like proto-Combine Metro cops pointing their guns at Alyx, while a city scanner, one of the photo-taking robots from Half-Life 2, hovers behind them. We also see Combine barricades blocking off streets in the city. So one thing that I want to point out here, guys, is that the story is set between the events of Half-Life and Half-Life 2. So there's rumor that what they're going to do is this is going to be kind of the reintroduction to the Half-Life franchise in a VR setting, and then they're going to continue with Half-Life 3. Obviously, that's all speculation. That's something that we don't know for sure, but it's something that's certainly being talked about at this point. Some speculated that Half-Life Alyx might be a short demo for Valve's new VR hardware, Valve Index, but it's actually a full-length game. According to the studio, internal playtesters have taken about as long as it takes to finish Half-Life 2 to get through the entirety of Half-Life Alyx. Valve designer Greg Coomer also adds that some players take much longer as they choose to more deeply explore and interact with the environment. So we're looking at least 20 hours of play here, which is a significant chunk of time, especially for a VR game. I agree 100%. 20 hours inside of a VR game. I've never played that long of a VR game in my life, so that would be very interesting. It's the first Half-Life with a voiced hero. Half-Life hero Gordon Freeman, of course, never utters a word, but Alyx will have plenty to say when you play as her in Half-Life Alyx. Early on, we decided it was important that playing as Alex felt different to playing as Gordon Freeman, says Coomer. Alex being an active participant in conversations made it much, much easier to incorporate narrative into the game in natural ways, and as a result, there's a higher density of storytelling over the course of the game. A new actor is playing Alex, so the new character, or I should say, new actor is Ozioma Akaga, I believe is how you say it. I actually don't know, to be honest with you. G-Man and other familiar characters return. Maybe it's not a surprise. It's hard to imagine a Half-Life game without the mysterious G-Man, who even appeared in the mostly Gordon Freeman-less Half-Life opposing force, and Blue Shift. But it's great to have it confirmed, and once again, G-Man will be voiced by Mike Shapiro. Yeah, Shapiro. We'll also see the return of the alien Vortigots, once again voiced by Tony Todd. Ellen McLean, the voice of Gladys in the Portal series, is returning as the sinister synthesized voice of the Combine Overwatch. Alex's father, Eli Vance, will make an appearance, although he's been recast after the sad death of his original voice, Robert Guglielmi, in 2017. The new voice of Eli, James Moses Black, has big shoes to fill, says Coomer, but we're all excited about his performance and can't wait for players to hear it. Black has appeared in This Is Us and 24 Legacy, among many other film and television roles. So Alex will have gravity gloves. Before the zero-point energy field manipulator was invented and given to Gordon Freeman in Half-Life 2, Alex had gravity gloves. We can assume these can be used in a similar fashion as the gravity gun to lift, pull, and throw objects around. But there's probably a lot more you can do with them in VR. A screenshot also shows them displaying what we assume is Alex's health status. 3 hearts are shown on the left-hand glove. How far we've come from Jurassic Park Trespassers health meter. But that being said, the gravity gloves are pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. These gravity gloves look pretty sick. Very high tech, and I love the way in which you can utilize those gravity gloves. It seems to be able to get like a weapon if you want, and there's a sequence where you are able to use the gravity gloves. It looks like the magnetic force from it to get your gun as well as the clip and such. Really cool. Mark Laidlaw is involved, kinda. The original Half-Life writer is somewhat involved. There will be head crabs. The idea of a head crab lunging at you in virtual reality sounds horrifying, so of course they will feature in Half-Life Alyx. Little known fact, it's actually illegal to make a Half-Life game without head crabs, says Coomer. Also, the only reason we invested years of time, money, and effort into VR was so we could make a head crab leap at people's faces. Alex's store page on Steam notes that you'll be able to rip head crabs off your face and throw them at Combine soldiers. So that's pretty neat. Gabe Newell is excited. Gabe Newell, virtual reality has energized us, the Valve founder says. We've invested a lot of ourselves in the technology, but we're also game developers at heart, and to be devoting ourselves to a VR game this ambitious is just as exciting. So Gabe Newell, guys, obviously the Valve founder, he's excited, so that's really good. You can play it with any PC-based VR headset, so this is really cool as well. Half-Life Alyx is undoubtedly optimized for the Valve Index and its knuckle controllers, but Valve isn't limiting the hardware you can play it on. It'll be compatible with the HTC Vive, Windows Mixed Reality, Oculus Rift, and Oculus Quest if you have the PC Link cable. It'll also support room scale, standing, or sitting play, and includes 3 movement options: teleportation, shift, which means you smoothly zoom between points, and regular analog stick walking and running. Owners of any part of the Valve Index kit, including just the controllers, will get Half-Life Alyx free. Those who own any Index hardware before the end of 2019 will get a few bonuses, including alternate gun skins to embellish Alyx's arsenal. It'll be Steam Workshop compatible too, according to the official site. A set of Source 2 tools for building new levels will be available for the game, enabling any player to build and contribute new environments for the community to enjoy. Hammer, Valve's level authoring tool, has been updated with all of the game's virtual reality gameplay tools and components. For anyone wondering if there will ever be a non-VR version of Half-Life Alyx, it looks like the answer is no. The complexity going on there it's just hard to. We would have to map an entire section of the keyboard dedicated just interacting with doors if we wanted to have that kind of functionality, Valve's Dario Casali told Jeff Keighley. The more we explored those mechanics, the more we realized that in order for us to deliver a keyboard and mouse experience, we'd have to ship a game that's missing a lot of those interactions, and they were playtesting so well that we didn't feel like that was a good idea. So I do want to talk about this, Half-Life Alyx being just on VR. Not that I think it's a bad thing. What I will say is kind of go back to what I was saying about how I feel that this is kind of the flagship VR game that's set to kind of reintroduce Half-Life to us, and I think Half-Life 3 is going to be set, is going to be something that we may get in a few years. But what I am going to say about it is there's been a lot of conversation from people about, will this get a lot of people to buy the VR headsets? I don't think so. I think a lot of people will buy the VR headsets to play this game, but I think the steep price of the VR headsets it's just too expensive, and I think that what's really going to get people to start getting VR is if they're like included with your console, if they're included with like a PC, which I know that I believe like with the PlayStation, some of the PlayStations have a VR headset that are included with them, certain versions. But I think that if Half-Life Alyx was free, if you bought one of the VR headsets, I think that might be a different story. I know it's free if you get the Valve Index VR headset, but that one's very expensive. I'm just saying in general, if it were free with any of the different VR headsets, if it was just like a free-to-play game, kind of like, Fortnite or something along those lines, I think that we would see a lot more people getting the VR headsets. I think that this is kind of a step in the right direction for VR. I do not think that it is going to kind of change, how we... I don't think it's going to change that, there's going to be, a significant amount more people, or like everyone is getting a VR headset because of this game. I don't think we're at that point as of yet. I may be wrong, but I'd like to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Half-Life Alyx, this leads me into the next thing, which is pretty good. Half-Life Alyx probably won't be the last we see of Half-Life in the near future. We've established that, as a prequel, Half-Life Alyx isn't actually Half-Life 3. However, that doesn't mean that the game, whose name is essentially a gaming prayer, is off the table. The Verge asked designer David Speyer if this was a full return to Half-Life and if we could expect more games in this series now that Valve has finally brought it out of stasis. It's probably no surprise that many people at Valve have been wanting to get back to the Half-Life universe for a long time, Speyer said. And this experience has only reinforced that. He elaborates, explaining that Valve has explored new ways to tell stories in the Half-Life world and new gameplay experiences it can create for players. Of course, we'll have to wait and see how people react to Half-Life Alyx once it's out, but we'd love to continue pushing forward, Speyer said. So there you have it. Guys, I'm not going to lie. This is exciting, and this is pretty much everything that we know so far, because Half-Life 3, I'm going to say right here on the 8 Below show, is going to be coming. I think it's going to come because I think people are going to like Half-Life Alyx. People might not say it's like the best, game ever. They might say, though, that it's the best VR game ever made. And that could really push us into Half-Life 3 and that being completely and utterly echoed into existence. If it's not already been greenlit at this point, it very well might be at that point. But I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about Half-Life Alyx? Are you excited for it? Are you planning on getting the VR headset or one of those VR headsets to play the game? I would love to hear from you guys and see how many of you are actually buying the headsets or planning on getting one to play this game. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I can't believe that this is going to be a topic, but it is, guys. Has the Call of Duty community not learned anything from the past of Call of Duty? Where we came from that made Call of Duty great, to where we ended up, which was the Dark Ages in my opinion, to where we're headed now, which is positivity. Here's the question. Why do people in the Call of Duty community want to go back to the jetpack era? Like, why? Why? Guys, I thought we've been through this. We've been through this already 3 times. Not just one time, not twice, but 3 times we went through the jetpack era, the Dark Ages of Call of Duty, in my opinion, and I think that's opinion of a lot of people out there. A very dark time in which Call of Duty was on the brink of what I believe a fallout. Let's just talk about this. So I talked about this on a previous 8 Below show, and I think I need to just reinforce this, or just bring this up again. Call of Duty, for 6 years in a row, was just a juggernaut of a game. You had, Modern Warfare, you had COD 4, you had Modern Warfare 2, you had Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2, or Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty Ghosts, which, but Call of Duty World at War. Even putting Call of Duty Ghosts in there. 6 solid years of great games. And then Activision decided to change things. Go really futuristic. Into Advanced Warfare we go. And look, do I blame Activision for doing one game, jetpacks? No. Do I think that it was cool for Advanced Warfare? Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like, you know what? This is different. This is okay. I'm okay with this. But here's where they lost us. They lost a lot of people, at least. They didn't decide just to make one jetpack game. They greenlit 3. And that hurt Call of Duty big time. After Advanced Warfare, we went into a full-blown dark age of Call of Duty. And it's unfortunate for Advanced Warfare because I thought that Advanced Warfare was actually, it was okay for what it was. I thought the campaign was okay. It was kind of like just its own thing. It didn't have anything to do with any of the other any of the other sub-franchises like Black Ops or Modern Warfare. It was just its own thing. And I thought it was all right. Like, it was fun for what it was. A lot of us ended up just going back to the older Call of Duties because, we like that boots on the ground feel. It's nice to have Advanced Warfare, though, as just a game that you can go to and play, when you want to have something where it's like you're jumping 20 feet in the air and, that can be fun. But then we went into Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. And that is where, when they announced Black Ops 3, everyone was so excited. But then when they said that it was jetpacks, Black Ops 3 would have been it's the biggest, had so much potential. If it didn't have jetpacks, it would be one of the best Call of Duties ever made. And I will stand by that. But because they used jetpacks, it just wasn't as playable for as long. It was just another, Titanfall and Halo. Felt like Call of Duty with the guns and, some of the, gun mechanics, but, it was Titanfall and Halo. And then with the specialists, another interesting concept, but didn't really feel like Call of Duty. It was just moving away from COD. And then what happened? Everyone went back to the old games. Man, those were the days, man. Then Infinite Warfare. Whew. That was a tough one. Because not only did Infinity Ward not really seem like they cared about the game at all at launch, the maps were just so, bland and, I actually thought Infinite Warfare was, I thought Infinite Warfare, as far as compared to the other ones, I actually had a little more fun playing it versus that of Black Ops 3. I don't know why, but I had a little more fun with it. But once again, played it for a month and then went back to the older CODs or moved on at this point, which is what a lot of the community did. The real dark ages of Call of Duty, those 3 years. Because once Advanced Warfare came out, a lot of people in the community said, we're done, moving on to other games. Now, the Call of Duty community were like, yeah, we'll just keep playing this, or we'll play some of the older Call of Duties. COD was never the same when Advanced Warfare came out. Call of Duty is a franchise in which was built on gritty gameplay. Fights and battles battleground, battlefields and incredible locations, right? Not aquariums and skate parks. Okay? It's I understand it's different, but it's Call of Duty is meant to be a gritty action war type of game where it's realistic, maybe a little bit futuristic, but come on, not jetpacks. So why does the Call of Duty community want to go back to this? I'm not saying the entire community. I'm not saying that the entire community does. But why does anyone really want to go back to jetpacks? Why? We are moving in a direction now that it works. Think about this, guys. After Infinite Warfare, we were thinking, okay, it can't get any worse than this. It just can't get any worse than this. World War II comes out. Was it a great game? No. Was it better than the past few Call of Duties? Like, the campaign was pretty good. The multiplayer, which is what everyone comes back for, it was pretty good. It was a step in the right direction. It was the resurgence of Call of Duty. Because it started where we are now. You get to Black Ops 4, which I thought was a great multiplayer, even though it didn't have a campaign, which I thought sucked, but no campaign. Multiplayer is what everyone plays anyway. Has Blackout instead. Blackout's awesome. It's all boots on the ground. They had a mode in Blackout that you could have jetpacks, which is what, they should have done with Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare. Black Ops 3 is maybe a mode with jetpacks to even just give us, just show us, hey, we're going to try this. This is an event. An event in Black Ops 3 or an event in Advanced Warfare that, hey guys, we're introducing jetpacks. What do you guys think about it? No, they put an entire 3 games of their biggest franchise around jetpacks. They all sold well still. They all did well, but not as good as not as good as where COD was. Now where are we? Well, Black Ops 4 was great. As far as, the multiplayer, Blackout was widely accepted. But then Modern Warfare comes out, and you get another full package. And at this point, COD is back. I'm here to tell all of you, Call of Duty is back right now. From where we have been in the past, those 6 amazing years of great games, to the dark ages with Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, to now, which it started with World War II, so we have that to thank for it. Black Ops 4 was kind of another step. Modern Warfare is that full package, boots on the ground, overall, just an incredible experience. Does it have its issues? Sure, but it's a great game. Why go backwards now? If we're going to make a Black Ops, 5 at this point, or just a Black Ops reboot, keep it boots on the ground. Or if they're going to do Cold War or something along those lines, that's fine. Don't go don't go jetpacks. Those of you who actually think that jetpacks is a good idea to go back to or want that, go play Titanfall. I don't want to see one of my favorite franchises go back into some dark age again because of something that's self-inflicted, something that we don't really want. Okay? Now, if Call of Duty, Activision wants to maybe, kind of just get an idea hey, maybe they want to go back to jetpacks. Let's incorporate them in a game mode or something like that. I would be all right with that. That's fine. But don't put an entire game based around jetpacks when that's not Call of Duty. That's Titanfall. That's Halo. That's not Call of Duty. Don't do it to one of my favorite franchises. Don't do it again. They already did it once. Don't do it again. Please, for the love of God. Call of Duty is in the best spot that it's been in for a long time. Are there issues with the maps? Sure. But guess what, guys? We're getting the DLC for free. It's all free. The maps are free. Okay? That's a huge step forward. Modern Warfare is a really fun game. The campaign is amazing. It's the best campaign ever made in Call of Duty, in my opinion. It's incredible. It's up there with as far as my favorite Call of Duties of all time, it is right up there. It's super close to the likes of Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2. It's right below it. That's a huge step in the right direction. Who knows what the next Black Ops could give us, the next Modern Warfare could give us. keep Call of Duty where it's at and like keep pushing forward with where we're going. We're getting back to where this could be like the biggest game on earth as far as like on all, from all perspectives, from a perspective of like the esports scene with the Call of Duty League. It could get absolutely huge. Some of the community's coming back because Modern Warfare is that good. There's still people who still haven't forgiven Call of Duty. And they just play Fortnite or other games. Because a lot of the Call of Duty community is now the Fortnite community. Because so many of the Call of Duty community went there. They went to Fortnite. Because they had more fun with that. Don't go back to jetpacks. And let me know why we should go back to jetpacks. And I would love to have somebody, I would love to invite like a pro player, a couple pro players onto the show to talk about like a couple perspectives. Maybe one of the pro players likes jetpacks or would like to go back to jetpacks. Maybe the other pro player doesn't. I'd love to get some perspectives on this. Whether it's pro players or just people in the community who love Call of Duty, I want to know why. Why would the Call of Duty community want to go back to the jetpack era? Let's talk about it. So another game that's really close to my heart, guys, that I haven't talked about on the channel is Halo. And the Halo franchise. And it's another game and franchise in which has kind of gone through some, without a doubt, ups and downs, right? Halo Infinite is going to be launching, we think, next year, possibly 2021, or, after the Xbox 2 or the next generation, Project Scorpio or whatever it's called, Project Scarlet, I think, which is the next Xbox generation console, supposedly going to be launching with that. Potentially, I guess. A lot of this has been speculation and rumors. But a question I want to propose is, will Halo Infinite bring Halo back to the spotlight, back to where it once was, which was one of the most well-renowned franchises in gaming, one of the most respected. I think that with Halo, it suffered a number of blows. One was that Halo 1, 2, 3 were so loved by just the community at large. Halo Reach, I think a lot of people liked it. I really liked Halo Reach. Some people were like, not really. People were all looking at Halo 3 because everyone just loved Master Chief and all those things. Then Halo 4 came out and there was a lot of issues that people didn't like with that. I didn't play much Halo 4. And then you had Halo 5 Guardians. The Halo Master Chief Edition. But people really, or the Master Chief Collection, I think is what it was called, actually. But Halo 5 is what brought Halo into a pretty bad place. People just really didn't like Halo 5 from multiple perspectives. They didn't like, people didn't like the maps. People didn't like that you weren't playing as Master Chief, or, there were just a number of issues, right, with Halo 5. I didn't think it was as bad as people were saying, but nonetheless, the community at large just wasn't having it. The esports scene was not being really well supported whatsoever, which is absolutely atrocious in my opinion. I cannot believe that the esports scene of Halo was being treated the way it was. And the Halo Championship, I remember, was just like in a tent, it looked like. At least the last one. And now it's kind of just, it has all been so quiet as far as that's all concerned. I mean, it's just unreal. I do think, however, that Halo Infinite is the comeback. I really do. And I don't have a lot to really back this up. It is a game in which could very well right the ship for Halo. It may not, but I really believe, guys, when I was looking at it, it kind of reminded me of things within Gears of War. It looks like it could be a semi-open world game, similar to what they did with Gears 5. So we could get a semi-open world game. I believe that they are going to try to support the esports scene a lot more than they have been, and they definitely should. Halo is still Halo. It is still a massive IP that I believe has just been not dealt with the best care. Ever since it moved from Bungie to 343, there's been issues. It hasn't been seamless without any stretch of the imagination. But I think that Halo Infinite could be the true comeback of Halo. And you got to hope that. It's more like a hope at this point, a prayer that it is. But I believe we got to give Halo Infinite the benefit of the doubt. We definitely, obviously, want to see more on this game. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys all are excited about it. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic about it. But I'm certainly going to, I'm rooting for it. I'm cheering for it. I want this to be the best Halo ever made. I want them to knock it out of the park. I want them to silence the haters. I want it to be an amazing game. I want it to, be a big IP. I want it to be I want it to be great again. I want Halo to be awesome again. And I think Halo Infinite is going to be that for us. I think it's going to be that. I really do. But what do you guys think? You guys think Halo Infinite is going to bring Halo back to the spotlight? Whether we're talking esports or we're just talking for casual gamers? Or do you think it's going to be just another game that kind of gets thrown to, the wayside after a few months of playing it? Let me know what you guys think. And I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.